Good day, my friends. Welcome to another exciting episode of the Daily Torah broadcast, a ministry of the Messianic Discipleship Institute. You can always visit us online at mymdi.org and download previous episodes of the Daily Torah podcast. Contact us and let us know what you're learning so far. Today we are on day 3 of this week's Daily Torah series, Vayishlach. Yesterday we continued the story with Jacob alone in the camp and encountering this mysterious figure that forever changed his life and his name to Israel. Today we will continue the story with Esau returning to Seir in peace and Jacob settling in the land of Shechem. If you have your Bibles and notepads handy, get them ready or listen and review later. But let's pick up the story in Genesis chapter 33, beginning in verse 12. In Genesis 33, verse 12, we read, "Then Esau said, 'Let us take our journey. Let us go, and I will go before you.' But Jacob said to him, 'My Lord knows that the children are weak, and the flocks and herds which are nursing are with me. And if the men should drive them hard one day, all the flock will die. Please, let my Lord go on ahead before his servant. I will lead on slowly at a pace which the livestock that go before me and the children are able to endure until I come to my Lord in Seir.' And Esau said, 'Now let me leave you with some of the people who are with me.' But he said, 'What need is there? Let me find favor in the sight of my Lord.' So Esau returned that day on his way back to Seir, and Jacob journeyed to Succoth, built himself a house, and made booths for his livestock. Therefore the name of the place is called Succoth." Now, my friends, this is the second great miracle of God to Jacob. First, God prepares Jacob to return with great wealth and break the yoke of bondage from Laban's servitude. Now his greatest fear of meeting his brother Esau again, who vowed to kill him, ends in a peaceful separation with no violence. In Proverbs 16, verse 7, Solomon reminds us, "When one's ways are pleasing to Adonai, he makes even his enemies be at peace with him." With the encounter with Esau completed and peace restored, Jacob travels in the opposite direction of his brother's home. Seir was south, Succoth mostly to the north. One at that place will become known as Succoth. And once at that place, when he gets to Succoth, Jacob builds a permanent structure, a house, along with booths or shelters for his livestock. Now, continuing in verse 18, "Then Jacob came safely to the city of Shechem, which is in the land of Canaan, when he came from Padan Aram, and he pitched his tent before the city. And he bought the parcel of land where he had pitched his tent from the children of Hamor, Shechem's father, 100 pieces of money. Then he erected an altar there and called it El Elohe Israel." We don't know how long Jacob stayed in Succoth, which was on the other side of the Jordan, outside the boundary of Canaan. This area would later become the inheritance of his son Gad. Now, Shechem is the second parcel of land bought for money, and if you remember from our previous Torah portions, where Abraham bought the cave of Machpelah to bury Sarah, and later Isaac buried Abraham there, we discussed that there are 3 areas of land that cannot be disputed that Israel stole. And this is the second of such lands, the third being the Temple Mount. Now, continuing in Genesis chapter 34, verse 1, we have a very unfortunate incident in our Torah portion today. In Genesis 34, verse 1, we read the account of Dinah. "Now Dinah, the daughter of Leah, whom she had borne to Jacob, went out to see the daughters of the land. And when Shechem, the son of Hamor the Hivite, prince of the country, saw her, he took her and lay with her and violated her. His soul was strongly attracted to Dinah, the daughter of Jacob, and he loved the young woman, and he spoke kindly to the young woman. So Shechem spoke to his father Hamor, saying, 'Get me this young woman as a wife.' And Jacob heard that he had defiled Dinah his daughter. Now his sons were with his livestock in the field, so Jacob held his peace until they came. Then Hamor, the family of Shechem, went out to Jacob to speak with him. And the sons of Jacob came in from the field when they heard it. And the men were grieved and very angry because he had done a disgraceful thing in Israel by lying with Jacob's daughter, a thing which ought not to be done. But Hamor spoke with them, saying, "The soul of my son Shechem longs for your daughter. Please give her to him as a wife, and make marriages with us. Give your daughters to us, and take our daughters to yourselves, so you shall dwell with us, and the land shall be before you. Dwell and trade in it, and acquire possessions for yourselves in it." And in verse 11, then Shechem said to her father and her brothers, "Let me find favor in your eyes, and whatever you say to me I will give. Ask me ever so much dowry and gift, and I will give according to what you say to me. But give me the young woman as a wife." This story has been called, my friends, the rape of Dinah, although not all scholars agree that she was raped, forced into sexual relations against her will. Many would ask, why did God allow this to happen? Did Dinah cry out to try to resist? It's not clear that Shechem forced himself upon Dinah. Rather, he took her, lay with her, and debased her. In the biblical world of the ancient Near East, when a virgin had sex out of wedlock, whether seduced or raped, she was devalued in terms of her social status, bringing shame upon the family. Her virginity was crucial in negotiations over bride price and the family alliances forged through the marriage. In the legal discourse around sexual intercourse with a virgin outside of wedlock, whether she was betrothed to another man or not, the woman was presumed to have consented if she did not cry out in protest in the city or town, and to have been raped if she was taken in the open country where her cries could not have been heard. We find this written in Deuteronomy chapter 22, verses 23 through 29. Now Shechem desires to marry Dinah. The expression "speak to the heart" implies a desire to restore oneself after a breach. Further, he so desired her that he was willing to pay a very high bride price to find favor in the eyes of the family. Was this Satan's plot to allow the intermingling and eventually weeding out the seed of the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob? Remember, Esau married pagan women outside the family, while Abraham took great care in making sure Isaac had a wife from the family, as did Jacob. The story of the rape of Dinah as an Israelite foundational narrative presents the impossibility of integration with the Canaanites in the land. There is more at stake here than many realize, and we will pick up the story and how this incident plays out in tomorrow's episode. But let's turn to our half-Torah portion found in Obadiah, continuing in verses 7 through 9, speaking again to Esau. "All the men in your confederacy," in Obadiah verse 7, "shall force you to the border. The men at peace with you shall deceive you and prevail against you. Those who eat your bread shall lay a trap for you. No one is aware of it. Will I not in that day, says the Lord, even destroy the wise men from Edom, and understanding from the mountains of Esau? Then your mighty men, O Teman, shall be dismayed, to the end that everyone from the mountains of Esau may be cut off by slaughter." Now, my friends, Teman was Esau's grandson, and the capital city of Edom was named after him. Obadiah here predicts the total destruction of Edom, a long-standing enemy of Israel. Despite Edom's strategic location, pride, and wealth, this prophecy warns that they will be completely ruined. The city of Tiban was very close to modern-day Petra in Jordan. The Edomites built almost impregnable fortresses in the canyons and gorges of these mountains. The magnificent ruins of Petra attest to the greatness which Edom once knew. In our future Daily Torah episodes, we will see that when the Israelites came from Egypt during the Exodus around 1445 BC, the Edomites still occupied this region. It was the Nabateans who drove the Edomites out of the ancient city of Petra around 400 BC. Now, as many as 30,000 people may have occupied Petra during the 1st century AD. And then there was a large earthquake in 363 AD, and it destroyed at least half the city. And just as Obadiah wrote, Petra never recovered from this destruction, lost its power, and is now uninhabited. Today it's a tourist attraction. Many people go there and visit the ruins of Petra. Now let's turn to our Brit Hadashah portion, continuing in Hebrews chapter 11, verses 21 through 30. In Hebrews 11, verse 21, we read, "Now by faith, Jacob, when he was dying, blessed each of the sons of Joseph and worshiped, leaning on the top of his staff." And we'll see that in future Daily Torah episodes. By faith, Joseph, when he was dying, made mention of the departure of the children of Israel and gave instructions concerning his bones. By faith, Moses, when he was born, was hidden 3 months by his parents because they saw he was a beautiful child and they were not afraid of the king's commands. By faith, when Moses, when he became of age, refused to be called the son of Pharaoh's daughter, choosing rather to suffer affliction with the people of God than to enjoy the passing pleasures of sin, esteeming the reproach of Messiah greater riches than the treasures in Egypt, for he looked to the reward. By faith he forsook Egypt, not fearing the wrath of the king, for he endured as seeing him who is invisible. By faith he kept the Passover and the sprinkling of blood, lest he who destroyed the firstborn should touch them. By faith they passed through the Red Sea as by dry land, whereas the Egyptians attempting to do so were drowned. By faith the walls of Jericho fell down after they were encircled for 7 days, and by faith the harlot Rahab did not perish with those who did not believe when she had received the spies with peace. Now, as we have been discussing these last couple of days, faith is demonstrated by our actions, knowing that God will deliver and bring us into the promised land, his kingdom. We all await that glorious kingdom. We await the sound of the shofar, the blow, and for Messiah, the King of Israel, to return and claim his throne and his bride. My friends, are you ready for the return of King Yeshua? This Torah portion, half Torah, and Brit Hadashah portions are all leading us in faith to the return of the Messiah, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, who will bring peace and justice to this dying world. Prepare to meet your King, for he is coming very soon. My friends, the world is in chaos, but those who have faith in God are at peace. So let's end it here today. Meditate on these words today. Are you at peace in your walk with God right now? Share this message with your friends and family. Post a link on your social media pages and help us spread the gospel. You never know whose life you may affect. Remember to visit us at mymdi.org. Take one of our free classes. Download the Daily Torah schedule. You can also order the Daily Torah series of books to follow along. And if the Lord inspires you, please consider becoming a monthly sponsor so we can reach more people with these messages. Just click the giving menu option or the donate button on the website. So until tomorrow, we will continue the exciting saga of the story of Jacob. So until then, shalom aleichem, blessings and shalom, my friends.